Happy 2024, you wild ghouls out there. It's your two favorite critics back here for Cinephellas. I'm Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill, and we're here to wrap up 2023 in a nice package, as you may say,
Woo!
sent straight to your door to open it for your goodness. But, anyways, we're talking about the best in movies and television of 2023, and we will get right into it, shall we? Let's talk about the best movies of 2023 first. Let's start with number 10, Logan's choice. Logan will tell his, and then I'll go ahead with mine. We can give a little brief explanation afterwards.
My number 10 here is a movie I watched a few times and just watched with my son for the first time last week. Movie that came out over the summer. It was a big, massive hit alongside another film going Barbenheimer. Of course, I'm talking about Barbie, number 10, best film of 2023. It made a lot of money. A lot of people went to see it. It was a fun movie, lighthearted, had a good story to it. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling were amazing in the movie. It's just a great fun ride. Really didn't expect that, and that's my number 10.
Very well. All right. My number 10 is Eli Ross, Thanksgiving. That's right. My number 10. It rounds out the best for me this year. I just love the way he did it. I love that opening scene. The Black Friday scene stood out to me. The way he was able to make a full-fledged movie out of that small little teaser back from the Grindhouse movie, the fake little teaser for Thanksgiving. But he was able to make a fun movie, homage to the Wes Craven Scream franchise, obviously, and then known for all of Eli Roth's other horror movies, his gore. It has a lot of gore. Had a lot of fun with it, and it was a highlight for me. So that's my number 10, Thanksgiving.
Ooh, good choice. That's my number 8 on my list. My number 9 is a movie that we also reviewed that nobody talked about, nobody went to see, but absolutely love this. Big surprise for me. I'm talking about Last Voyage of the Demeter. I absolutely love that vampire flick, Bram Stoker. Great cast, super spooky on the ship. Visual effects, practical effects looked amazing on the vampire. Great movie.
Yeah, that was an awesome movie. Came under the radar. We both watched it and we're like, damn, this is awesome. This, was definitely worth going to see it at the theater. The way the creature looked was awesome. I liked how he hid in the shadows and they didn't reveal it right away. But yeah, the creature makeup and design on that and the CGI that was used looked fantastic. Last Voyage of the Demeter, definitely one of the best of the year for sure. My number 9 is another horror movie. We're talking about another horror movie, so it must have been a semi-decent year. There are a few really good horror movies this year. And my number 9, Evil Dead Rise, the new take from director Lee Cronin, starts out in a familiar place out in the woods. And then you find out that they're actually at a lake. There's some kids on a dock. Mayhem ensues after that. It goes into a high rise, this time with a single mother and 2 kids, and it just goes balls to the wall. It's got everything that you would like from an Evil Dead movie. Besides Bruce Campbell, it didn't have Bruce Campbell, but it didn't need him. It did its own thing. It was twisted, gory, and a hell of a lot of fun, and a great way to kick off horror movies in 2023.
Yeah, Lee Cronin did a hell of a job directing that, creating a whole spooky atmosphere, taking it to the next chapter, and I thought it did an amazing job. That was one of my honorable mentions. Didn't make my top 10, surprisingly. Yeah, we talked about Thanksgiving. That was on your list. I love that movie too. We just watched it, reviewed it, obviously around Thanksgiving. Eli Roth is the man. Great flick, and definitely a movie I'm going to be buying when that comes out. It's that good of a movie, and it's worth a rewatch. The next on my list was The Holdovers. We just talked about and reviewed not too long ago. Paul Giamatti was fantastic in that. And yeah, had a really great time with that. One of the best of the year.
My next one on my list, my number 8, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, a movie, Tom Cruise, long-running franchise, kind of got lost in the shuffle box office wise. Still made a hell of a lot of money, just didn't quite meet their expectations, but it wasn't because the movie, suffered from anything or was missing anything. No, it had everything you wanted. Had, awesome, elaborate action set pieces, great stunts. Tom Cruise going crazy as Ethan Hunt, as usual, doing a lot of cool stunts, awesome car chases, crashes, tons of scenes. The train scene, obviously, at the end of that movie was
Oh
just,
man,
spectacular. and there's going to be another one to follow it up. But yeah, that was my number eight. Just a hell of a action movie to kick off the summer movie season.
That was definitely a great one. I just got into Mission Impossible. That was the first one I saw in theater, and it was damn good time. The motorcycle scene. Next up on my list, we just talked about this actor in our Saltburn review. One of my favorite movies of the year, based off the video game series, Gran Turismo. Gamer kid turns professional driver and takes the world by storm and does a great job. And based on a true story, think it's an oddball situation, but it's really did happen. So they put a lot of heart and soul into that movie, and it really shows. And really flew under the radar with that one. Nobody really watched that movie either. I went to the theater to see it. Only a few people were there, and it was a blast.
Yeah, that movie was way better than I thought it was going to be. David Harbour, Orlando Bloom in there, and yeah, they really, showed the story of this kid, this seemingly impossible, video gamer turned race car driver. It was pretty fantastic. Had some really awesome car, obviously car racing scenes and crashes. Yeah, it was awesome. I agree with you. It was one of my honorable mentions for this year. So the next on my list, my number seven, Ben Affleck directing another film. He's back. And this time it was the story of, the Air Jordans and how they were sold and how it became this global phenomenon, really. And, starring Matt Damon in an awesome role. It's Air. I'm talking about Air is the name of the movie. Matt Damon, yes, as the kind of mastermind. And then we had Jason Bateman in there, just an awesome cast put together. Ben Affleck was in there too with the curly wig that he had on, and just, full of 90s nostalgia there for us, and with Jordan. And yeah, it was a really good movie. Ben Affleck as a director is fantastic.
Yeah, it was on my honorable mention list as well. Love that movie. That was a fun one to
Oh,
review.
and the soundtrack too was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Spotify playlist right there. Great choice, my man. I love that movie. I loved reviewing that with you too. Growing up in the 90s,
sure.
being a Bulls fan. Yeah, I was taking you
Yeah.
back. The next on my list, one of my favorites of the year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Incredible animated film. Nothing like it. Like, just blew me away in the theater when I took Bodie to see it. Just being eyes glued to the screen, just the storytelling,
Yeah.
animation, what happens to Miles. Yeah, it was just a really phenomenal movie. And yeah, it's a movie I ended up buying on Steelbook and watched it a few times since. It's still a great movie.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the best animated movies I've ever seen. The whole family watched it. Everybody loved it. Watched it multiple times at home. It's one of those movies that's, one of the best ever, really. Took everything great about the first one and just, boosted it up and was even better story. And the way the multiverse worked with all the different Spider-Men was awesome too. And I can't wait for part two. It left off with a really cool cliffhanger. So I can't wait to see how it's resolved in the next one. But yeah, these movies are great. And Spider-Man Across the Universe was my number four. The next one on my list, my number six, The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti, Alexander Payne. Obviously, Paul Giamatti starred in Sideways back in the day with Thomas Hayden Church. A really, well reviewed and great movie that was directed way back in the day from Alexander Payne. Paul Giamatti's back, older now, playing this old crusty professor at the school who's, tasked with watching over these boys that basically get, their families are traveling and stuff, and they can't really go back home for Christmas. So they're going to stay with Paul and over the Christmas break. So it's over a couple weeks time. They form these relationships. Divine Joy, I believe her name was great in it. She played like the school's cook, and she has recently lost her son in Vietnam, and there's a lot of emotional scenes with it. But yeah, it's like a feel good Christmas movie set back in the 70s. Really, really great movie, and one that is definitely one of the best of 2023 for me.
My next movie on my list, The Iron Claw. We just reviewed that last week. The tragic story of the Von Erich family, the wrestling family, what happens to them. A really great powerhouse performance by Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White. List goes on and on. Just a really great movie. Not a feel-good movie, very depressing, but it tells a story and it's really well done.
Yes, absolutely. It was my number five. A great movie, terrific movie. One of the ones that I was really looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint at all. It was really tragic, and the performances were great. You know, the best you've ever seen Zac Efron playing the complex character who's going through so much trauma with his family. And the dad, played by Holt from Mindhunter, we knew him from, this overbearing father who will stop at nothing. And that includes basically sacrificing his kids' lives and well-being to get the championship. You know, it's a crazy story, some crazy events that happens with the brothers, but it's the relationships between the brothers that really makes this movie work. It felt like they acted like brothers and were brothers, and all the tragedy that strikes the family. So definitely one of the best of the year. So we're doing the top three, and my number three, Godzilla -1, the brand new Japanese Godzilla, going back to the original Toho films with an amazing story, all in Japanese with subtitles in the theater. And it doesn't matter that you have to read the words. It's a phenomenal story portrayed by, real actors, drawing on real life historical events being taken place after the bombs dropped, and dealing with the trauma of that. And then you introduce this large monster as a result of some of that nuclear radiation, and he attacks Japan. And it's all about this kamikaze pilot, failed kamikaze pilot, and him trying to protect these, people that he loves, and the citizens of, Japan having to come together to take on this big, terrifying monster.
And it looks even better on the big screen. Saw it twice in the theater. Man, what a ride. I haven't seen a movie like that in a very, very long time that just made you feel good. It was just over the top. The effects are amazing. Like Jurassic Park, it takes you back to the big blockbusters back then. Just all around well done movie, and a movie you definitely want to buy and pick up for your home collection. But that's my number three as well.
So my number two, this was tough. One and two are tough, but my number two, Martin Scorsese returned to cinemas this summer in a 3.5 hour film based on the novel Killers of the Flower Moon by David Graham here, as you can see. And, just a phenomenal movie. Marty doing a movie that he hasn't really done before, this sprawling kind of Western telling of the Osage Indian tribe, and, this basically this town where that struck oil back in the day, which, this land was inhabited by this tribe of Indians called the Osage Indians. They got a lot of money from this oil, and it's about basically the white men coming in, and, shady people looking to take that oil for themselves. And that's when you bring in Robert De Niro and then Leonardo DiCaprio, who play, the uncle, and then Leo playing the nephew. And Leo's character falling in love with one of the Native American girls, who's part of the Osage tribe, and then all these murders happening. So it's kind of part Western and part gangster too, because it has, elements of that too that Scorsese is known for, of course, with the murders, a lot of murders in this, deception, some great performances from Leonardo DiCaprio and De Niro. But yeah, the cinematography, everything was just, on point in this film. Didn't skip a beat. Went a little long in the tooth, and that's kind of the only negative for me. But this is a film that I'm really looking forward to watching a second time and seeing what I missed the first time, because there's so much to take in there. Not only the beautiful cinematography, like I mentioned, but just the expert directing by Scorsese, just not wasting a shot, always a purpose, and also seeing this phenomenal cast again.
Scorsese doing a Western. Sign me up. I want another one. Yeah, this movie is incredible. It's my number two as well. I'm looking forward to reading the book, but yeah, just some really powerhouse performances here with De Niro, DiCaprio, and Lily Gladstone. Really great movie. Really depressing, a bit long, but yeah, it's just a well done flick. I was really excited about this, and this is coming out on 4K Blu-ray later this month, and then it's hitting streaming Apple TV in like 2 weeks, I believe. So people out there haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's a good one.
Yes, a phenomenal movie. Marty's back. It feels great. He's getting up there now. These movies are special. The ones that we have left, out of Marty, he only does a few every so often. So, this is probably going to be one of his last films. So it's one that should be appreciated, and a story, that I didn't know about before. Really, tells about some hard stuff in history that happened and being brought to light. So And yeah, for me, I think Lily Gladstone's probably going to win the Academy Award for her performance. I think all the buzz and is behind her, so don't be surprised seeing her win for this. So that brings us to our number one, and I know you haven't mentioned it yet. I haven't mentioned it yet, so
No
we both,
questions.
yes, we both, thinking back on watching this movie in the theater, just from the opening frame all the way into the end, of the movie and building up to the Trinity test. That's right. We were talking about Oppenheimer, J. Robert Oppenheimer, this movie all about him, directed by Christopher Nolan. He's back and he's doing a biopic this time. And it's all about, Oppenheimer having to get the best scientists in the world together and to figure out how to make the nuclear bomb before the enemy did, before Germany got it. Because if we didn't make it first and Germany got it, we might not be doing this best of list right now. It could have changed history forever. And it deals with, obviously the implications from the bomb being dropped, all the lives it devastated, the way it changed history, and how that weighed on Oppenheimer himself. No matter what way you look at it, necessary evil, it still just weighed down on him as it would anybody. It's just something so horrific. But watching that build up and seeing them come together and have to figure this out, and then seeing the final product, the when they actually do detonate the bomb, hearing it in the theater and seeing it, it was, something that Christopher Nolan's going to be remembered for. This is his best movie. For me, this is his best movie he's ever done. Everything was great in this movie, including Cillian Murphy's performance. He's phenomenal in this. Never been better. And, we're going to see a lot of Oscar love for this too.
I'm hoping that Cillian Murphy brings home an Oscar. It was the best performance of the year, best movie of the year, no doubt. There's no other movie even compared to this. This is a masterclass in filmmaking right here. Christopher Nolan, one of his best. I don't know if it's his best, but it's up there for sure. And it just shows what this man is capable of doing and what he's going to be doing in the future. I'm very excited to see where his career goes. One of the best directors in the business. Great ensemble here. Score, sound design was so good in this, leading up to the end when it actually goes off. And that was super crazy at the theater. Edge of your seat. It's just a beautiful experience in the movie theater. Yeah, just an incredible movie. My number one of the year for sure.
Absolutely. An incredible achievement. A great list for 2023 movies. A lot of memorable movies this year and really good filmmaking, great stories. This was a great year for movies. There are a lot of honorable mentions for me. I'll name a few. I didn't even mention Barbie. That was definitely up there. Just missed the top 10 for me. Blackberry was really, really well done. I liked Dennis's performance there. Glenn Howerton. He did a great job as the founder of BlackBerry. Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
Yes.
that was phenomenal. My favorite in that franchise. Scream 6, I thought was really awesome coming to New York. That felt like the most exciting entry in a long time. Cocaine Bear, just out of the, balls to the wall craziness. Gran Turismo, you mentioned. No One Will Save You. Remember that
That
movie
was
in the
good.
summer? Yeah, especially the opening half hour or so. Intense alien abduction film. And then Turtles Mutant Mayhem was my last one.
Yeah, that was on my list. That was a really incredible animated movie too. Great soundtrack. My honorable mentions here that you didn't bring up, Elemental. I love that movie. Pixar movie. Had a great time with that at the movie theater. Pixar always makes great movies for everybody.
Yeah,
That's why I always go to
absolutely.
see those. Haunted Mansion, one of my favorites as well. Didn't make the top 10, but a movie I've rewatched a few times. Still really great. Really surprisingly good movie. Great cast in that. Yeah, and then my last honorable mention is a movie that we enjoyed at the theater. Took our kids to see it. Super Mario Brothers movie. Talk about
Yeah.
nostalgia. Growing up playing Nintendo, and then taking your kids to see it. Illumination film. Yeah, it was really fun. Great voice acting, animation all around. Yeah, that was a great movie, but didn't make my top 10.
Yeah, that was just a fun time at the movies, especially if you're a fan of the, Mario Brothers, especially the old Nintendo game. A lot of, throwbacks in there and some great characters. I liked Anya Taylor as Princess Peach, Jack Black as Bowser. I mean, that was great. And then, Charlie Day and Chris Pratt, they're, fun. I mean, people were complaining a lot about the voices and voice actors and this and that. I didn't, for me, it was just a fun movie to go see with my son. So I enjoyed that. And yeah, that's definitely an honorable mention. I had forgotten that came out this year. It was a busy year for movies.
TV has been taking up more of my time in 2023, and there's a lot of great television. Number 10 for me, Ahsoka. Huge Star Wars fan, as you guys all know. Love Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, all the shows. And I love what they did with the live action with Ahsoka this season with Thrawn showing up. Just a lot of cool bad guys. A lot was on the line. Rosario Dawson, always phenomenal in the Ahsoka character, and had a great time with it.
Yeah, me too. That was a really great Star Wars series. My favorite as of late. I didn't know anything about these characters. I know they're from the animated Rebels. So it was all new to me, this story, and seeing some of the future of the Star Wars cinema, the movies that they're going to be making, these characters are going to show up, and that's really cool. Seeing the transition from TV, and it's going to go into film, so that's really awesome. But yeah, had a great time. That was one of my honorable mentions. My number 10 was a show that premiered on Peacock based on an old video game series for PlayStation back in the day. Just a fun series, a lot of fun, very funny, and some cool action. And I just had fun watching this. It was a fun binge. I'm talking about Twisted Metal, the old PlayStation game with the cars, crashing into each other, causing mayhem, the old fun Twisted Metal game. And had the wild characters from the games in there. And seeing Sweet Tooth on screen was amazing too, seeing him in live action. And when he gets the flames over his head, they do all that stuff from the game. Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatrice. They were a great pair on screen. They worked well together. They both have great comedic timing and played well off each other. And then you have, the voice of Sweet Tooth was Will Arnett, who just, is a great voice actor, really brings life to the character. So just a fun first season, and a lot of people must have agreed it caught on, and they've greenlit the season 2. So I'm excited by that.
Thank God. That was on my honorable
Yeah.
mentions for TV, but had a great time with that too. I don't like
Mhm.
Peacock, but that was definitely one of the better shows that I watched on there. It was surprisingly good. I thought it was gonna be
Mhm.
lame. It's like, it's Peacock, it's not gonna be as good. Great show from start to finish. All the love, all the nostalgia from the video games, and a modern take to it, and our favorite characters showing up. And we're gonna get into more stuff in season 2. Let's see here. Next up on my list, The Fall of the House of Usher, Mike Flanagan on Netflix. We reviewed that during 31 Days of Horror. You guys know how much I love Flanagan, all the TV shows and movies he does, but this is definitely one of his best. I love the book. I love the original movie, Vincent Price. It's a modern take on it, but still has all the eeriness and gothic side to it as, the original story.
It was a phenomenal series for sure. Mike Flanagan does it again. He's been great over at Netflix with every series he does, and he brings back the same actors and actresses. Carla Gugino in this, the MVP in this, Bruce Greenwood, as Roderick. He blew me away. And then we had, just a twisted story and a great take on the Edgar Allan Poe novels. So awesome. That was my number 4. So I had it even higher on my
Damn.
list. But yeah, definitely agree with you there. Definitely one of the best of the year by far. I can't wait to see what Flanagan does from here. Moving over to Prime Video, it's going to be interesting. It's supposed to adapt some Stephen King, bring the gunslinger over. That's going to be
Gunslinger.
exciting to see. Yeah.
Yes, I cannot wait for that. That's one of King's best, in my opinion. That's gonna be interesting and go into a different streamer too.
Next on my list, my number 9, we're talking about Don Mancini. We're talking about Chucky, season 3, part 1, taking it to the White House this season. This show is awesome this year. Over the top craziness. Devon Sawa as the president in this, but just Chucky, just ultra brutal this season. The goriest, most inventive kills yet. It's just fun watching week to week now. They split it up into 2, and the way it ended up too with Chucky, spoiler alert. Chucky turns old and has to break the curse, I guess, in the second part of the season, or could Chucky die? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I've had a blast with Chucky. Season 3, part 1. One of my favorite of the year, my number 9.
Give it to me straight, Doc. Chucky, you're dying. No,
Damn.
it was a great fun season. Like it was a short, part before Halloween. The Halloween episode was insane. That was on my honorable mentions, but I loved that. Love the season as much as you. My number 8, a show I've been yapping about for weeks with this guy, a show that happens to be in Canterbury. My new obsession, The Crown, that I just finished on Netflix. 6 seasons in 3 weeks. I had a great time with it. But season 6, the final season, damn, that was amazing. Number 8. Just everything that happens from the beginning of the show when young Elizabeth takes over as queen and her like 20s till 80, the final season. She's old, things she's going through and dealing with, and just, man, powerhouse performances across the board.
Damn, a show that you've been talking about. Yeah, like you mentioned, every night telling me you watch a new episode. The great cast that they got, all the years that were covered in the show. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. I've heard, so many people talking about this. And actually, we were talking earlier about Saltburn. I guess she had a part in The Crown. Did you know that Emerald Fennell played one of the
Yes,
royal
she played
people?
Camilla. I was going to say that.
Oh,
I
okay.
forgot all about it. Yeah, she
Wow,
did. I noticed
that's
her.
cool.
She played in like 2 seasons.
Yeah, and Dominic West, he's one of my favorites. I love his performances. I love the guy. He's just awesome at playing basically the drunk asshole who has a good heart. He's always like involved in these crazy situations in his shows. But yeah, I can't wait to see him play Prince Charles, even though they look nothing alike. But still, I
Yeah,
love him as an actor. And yeah, Olivia Colman, Claire Foy, Matt Smith. It sounds great.
Elizabeth
So
Debicki. Yeah,
yeah, as Lady Di. Yeah,
it keeps going
that's
more and more and more. You're going to see it, and you're like, oh my god, there's a bunch of English
mhm.
actors, actresses you've seen in movies and TV pop up.
My number 8. It's a spinoff of The Boys, Gen V. Gen V. This felt like the New Mutants for me. It was a better version of that, though. The cast was great. I loved all the characters. Each had their unique superpowers. The whole aspect of it being a university, and then with it being revealed that they're actually being spied on the whole time. It's not what they think it is the whole time, and how it led into what's going to happen in the future of the boys. But just all the over the top stuff that we love from the boys cranked up to an 11, having to deal with, crazy college kids. We saw Patrick Schwarzenegger in there. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I didn't, hadn't seen too many previews of this, didn't really know too much about it going into it. And I watched it, and this was one of my favorites of the year. Just a fun series from start to finish, and all part of the boys universe. And I can't wait to see how the two mix into each other now, moving on and moving forward.
Next up on my list, I have Love and Death, limited series on Max. Elizabeth Olsen, Jesse Plemons. Really great series. And yeah, there was only 6 episodes if I remember, but really great ensemble there and some really messed up things that happened with the murder. And don't want to spoil too much. It's definitely a show you should check out.
Yeah, that was definitely on my list too. My number 6. Great show, great series. Love, watching Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons together. They're both great actors, and they killed it in this. This was another awesome story, of this small town and these horny people involved in the church that, take a liking for each other. They're both married. It's a big affair, and a murder happens. And all on Max. It premiered earlier this year. So yes, that was a great limited series. I really enjoyed that. My number 6. Going back to the list for me, my number 7 was one that we just finally reviewed all of, Lawman Bass Reeves, the story of Bass Reeves, the first Black U.S. Marshal. Also starred Dennis Quaid, Donald Sutherland, and was just an awesome look at this man and what he did. And I had no idea about this, never learned about this in school, but just an amazing piece of history, what he was able to accomplish, especially considering slavery just having been abolished and him having to deal with that and being this amazing lawman and, being a man full of integrity and, having these friends that worked with him and believe in him. And yeah, it was a terrific series. Another Taylor Sheridan produced work for Paramount Plus, and another great series. My number 7.
Next up on my list here, we just talked about a few months back. Definitely one of the best Marvel endings we've seen in TV and movies. Of course, we're talking about Loki season 2. What an incredible ending. That was just so good. It started off a little slow, but once it found its footing, that season was just incredible across the board. Tom Hiddleston is always great. Owen Wilson, Jonathan Majors, boo! The list goes on and on, but just a really great follow up. Season 2, maybe even a little better than season 1 in my opinion, but just that ending blew me away, and that's why that's number 6 on my list.
Yeah, fantastic ending to that show. The evolution of Loki throughout the two seasons. The scale of it really is what blew me away. It just was this huge universe out there. And the second season, bringing in Ke Huy Quan. He was fun to watch on the screen. Ke Huy Quan coming back from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and seeing where things ended up for Mobius and Loki and everybody. They nailed it in that final episode. So I definitely agree. This was one of the best of 2023. It was one of my honorable mentions, but definitely one of the best of the year. I'd agree with you. So I already mentioned my number 6, Love and Death, which was on your list as well. So I'm going to move to my number 5. My number 5 this year was season 3 of Dave, the story of Lil Dicky, Dave Bird. Man, he brought out the big guns this season. It's the series just keeps getting better, and the way he directed certain episodes, especially there was one this season that took a look at his life and the way he was able to shoot that. It was amazing. There's some great episodes this season. They brought in Brad Pitt for an episode. We had Rachel McAdams. We had Don Cheadle. Just some amazing episodes in this season 3. If you guys haven't checked out the show, please binge it. I'm imploring you. It's not what you think. It's smarter, and you can see why this guy's talented. And I can't wait for the album to come out, because he has all these snippets of music that you hear, but you never get to hear the full thing. But he's actually recorded all that, and it's going to be releasing soon. But just an awesome series. Cheeto Santino, the comedian in it, as one of as his buddies. But yeah, it's just really well written. It went to places this season I didn't think it was going to go. Kind of has a horror themed episode in one of them. So he just does some awesome things within the seasons of the show. Keeps getting better, and it's definitely one of the best of 2023.
Next up on my list, an episode I just watched tonight, currently caught up. The newest season of Fargo, one of the best Fargo seasons yet. Haven't even finished it yet. We still have 2 more episodes for season 5, but man, this season is incredible. It's back to its roots, back to the oddball and creepy characters that Minnesota and was it North Dakota. This season you have John Hamm. He's the big bad guy. Totally unusual role for him, but he plays it so well. Juno Temple is the main actress, and Joe Keery and a bunch of other people. But yeah, it's on my list for best of the year for sure. I haven't finished it, and that's that damn good.
It's a great series. Definitely a return to form for Fargo on FX. It streams the next day on Hulu, which is how I've been watching it. But yes, terrific season. John Hamm, amazing, of course, as always. Next up on my list, already mentioned it from your list, The Fall of House of Usher. That's my number 4. Moving into the top 3 now for me. My number 3, The Last of Us, the adaptation from the best-selling video game series. Neil Druckmann being involved, Craig Mazin from Chernobyl, trying to put this video game and adapt it for TV. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as Joel and Ellie, and this awesome story of the apocalypse and the cordyceps virus, and basically the fall of humanity, and these characters going through and coming into contact with the clickers, all these great creatures, and then coming into contact with the last remaining humans, and of course them not being good all the time, them being bad, and having to deal with that and survive in the apocalypse. But man, just terrific all around. Amazing adaptation. They changed some things, but it doesn't matter. It's still fantastic. And I can't wait for season 2. It feels like it's been so long. I can't wait for more of the show.
Next up on my list, Silo was Apple TV Plus original series. Rebecca Ferguson, sci-fi show me and this guy reviewed. Really surprised by how good that was. Looking forward to the next season coming out. I love Rebecca Ferguson, one of my favorite actresses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on my list. That was number 4. Number 3 for me is Succession, season 4, the final season. Goes down to the GOATs of HBO, one of the greatest shows on HBO of all time. It's going to hit that list up there with Sopranos and The Wire, and the list goes on and on. People are going to be watching this 20 years from now, and the ending was phenomenal. Really, really great, award-winning performances, entire cast, and it just gives me chills thinking about it. It was so damn good, and definitely up there, one of the greats and one of the best of the year for sure.
Absolutely. It's one of the GOATs. It was my number 2. An amazing final season, an amazing series. One of the best. Man, what more can be said? Just a great performance by everybody from, the first episode all the way to the last. There wasn't a bad episode of the show. It was amazing. The siblings, everybody was phenomenal on this show. Definitely one of the best of all time and the best of the year for me. It was a toss up between 1 and 2, Succession being 2.
My number 2 of the best of the year for TV, The Bear season 2. Jeremy Allen White, yes, chef. Yes, chef. It was just amazing. Chicago-based show, the entire cast. Yeah, just amazing. I love everything they do with it, how intense it was, how it ended. Didn't end too good for Carmi, and setting up for the next season. I'm really excited for the next chapter for that show, and The Bear, number 2 for me.
Number 1 for me, The Bear season 2.
Was it? Was it?
Yep, number
Damn.
1 for me. Absolutely. Damn, such a good show. Everybody involved, the way it captures Chicago, the feel of the city. I lived there for a while, so, and obviously you live right next to there. We've been in the city, pretty much all our lives. It really captures it and captures this story about this restaurant and this young chef who has these big dreams, opening up his own place, and things don't go as he planned, and dealing with all this baggage from his family going on, working with his cousin. And that relationship between them get better than season 1, but season 2 outdid season 1, and The Bear just rocketed to the top of my list right away. One of the best shows of all time already. I mean, and how many awesome cameos did we get in that second season too?
A lot.
Some amazing, yeah, just phenomenal. And to know that they're about to shoot season 3, I'm so excited that they're keeping this momentum going. It's not going to be one of those shows where it waits too long in between. They're just going to keep this going because they know they have something special here.
Yeah, I think it really captures Chicago beautifully, especially restaurant business, kitchen business, working in there, how intense it could be at a restaurant like that, and everything, they go through financially is just really well done. That was our number 1 favorite show of last year, and it's your number 1 this year. It's my number 2. So my number 1 this year, you already talked about, just beat The Bear a little bit, The Last of Us. Huge video game series that I played through and that fell in love with, the stories. So excited for this to, come out on HBO, and I was obviously pleased and surprised at the same time, how good it was, how well done it was. The makeup work, the script, the characters, they just really captured that world, brought it from the video game, to HBO, and just loved it. It's a show I rewatched already, and I'm excited for the next chapter of that in season 2, and hopefully Abby shows up. So that's my number 1 pick. Number 1 TV show of 2023 for me, The Last of Us.
Man, what a great top 3. Hard to choose from those. The Bear, Succession, The Last of Us. I mean, those are some of the best shows of all time, especially Succession. The Bear is headed that way, and The Last of Us. Seeing that first season, the way they it went, and the way it was adapted, and how smart it was written and directed. But yeah, just a phenomenal year of TV and movies, really. But yeah, like you mentioned before, we watched a lot of TV this year, and no kidding. I mean, look at that list. So many great shows this year. And I left off a couple that I'll mention now. Bupkis, the series there with Pete Davidson, Joe Pesci, Edie Falco. That was just a fun series, funny look at his life, semi-autobiographical. Silo, which was on your list, that was terrific on Apple TV. Love binging that. White House Plumbers with Justin Theroux and Woody Harrelson. That was a really fun series, and great performances from those two. They worked really well. And another show that you mentioned, Ahsoka, just narrowly was outside the top 10. But yeah, so many awesome shows this year. And I'm excited to see what we get in 2024 with a lot of good premieres. Fallout, that's one that's coming pretty soon that I'm really looking
Yes.
forward to seeing how well they adapted it, and looks great from the trailer.
The video games are incredible. Fallout 4, Bethesda, one of the best studios in the business for video games, coming to Prime Video. Yeah, it looks amazing. It looks much like the video game, and I'm super excited for that. A few shows, honorable mentions that I just want to bring up real quick. We didn't talk about Yellow Jackets. Amazing season. I like this season a lot. This came out this year, and they got the new one coming out this year as well, the next season. And then the other one I wanted to bring up, Black Mirror season 6, which was also a great time. One of my favorite British shows. Black Mirror. It's the new Twilight Zone. It's always different episodes. It's kind of a mind fuck, and another great season.
Yeah, especially the episode with two of our favorites, Josh Hartnett and Aaron Paul.
Yes.
That episode was really awesome, and Kate Mara. That episode, great story there, and like you mentioned, definitely a modern Twilight Zone. Awesome series. Can't wait to see more episodes. Pretty much wraps up our list for the best of 2023. Man, we watched a lot of awesome shows and movies this year. Great to review them with my best mate, Uncle Logan over there. We do this all the time when we're not recording it. We're talking about it on the phone or via text message what we watched. We love doing this, and we love getting on here and recording them. And we thank all you guys for watching. We want to hear from you guys. What did we not mention that was on your list? Let us know in the comment section as always, and don't forget to click or subscribe.
Also, check out these wild rascals on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
So that's it for our best of 2023 video. A mind-blowing year, 2023, 2024, affected by the strikes, but there's some bangers on the way, and we're going to be here every week along the way of 2024. Thank you guys for following along with us all year long, showing us love. Stick with us because we're going to be reviewing pretty much everything coming out in 2024. So you guys will always know what you want to watch and what you should check out from us. So until the next Cinefellas, best of. I'm Uncle Henry Hill.
And I'm Uncle Logan Myers, signing out until the next review.
Cheers.